All right, good morning, people. We are live this Sunday, early Sunday morning here in Atlanta. It is not as cold as it's been in the past couple of days. It's been freezing in Atlanta. And one phenomenon that's been happening is that for some reason, when I returned, the last two times I've returned from Africa to Atlanta, from Ghana, and this time from Togo and Benin, it's been like 2 days later or the next day, it snows, like really snows here in Atlanta, which is, I'm getting a sign basically saying you need to stay in Africa from this snow. And whereas the weather is beautiful and it's hot and I can't stand cold weather. I cannot stand the snow. So that's why I don't understand why a lot of Africans, when they come from Africa over to America, they end up in places like Kansas and North Dakota where it's just freezing. But anyway, that's another subject matter. But I have good brother, the Grandmaster, Rahh, with us today. And we're going to be discussing why thousands of African Americans are leaving America for Africa. And one of the reasons could be because of the weather, depending on what part of America you live in. But Grandmaster, good morning, brother. How are you?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon here. Yeah.
Hold on. Hey, you know what, Grandmaster, hold on 1 second. I might have to shoot. We might have to start this again. Something's wrong with the chat. Hold on 1 second. Okay, we're here. Oh, we're good. We're good. All right, we're good. I hope this is us. Hold on 1 second, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the chat room, press 1 if you can hear me. Or if you can see me live right now, press 1. People who are in the chat. If somebody please press 1 if you can see me right now. All right, appreciate it, y'all. Okay, we're good to go. Go ahead, Rahh.
Okay, I was saying, yeah, we're here. It's in the afternoon here in Kenya. I wanted to make a correction on the title right before we start.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Al Jazeera article that came out recently saying that thousands of blacks have moved to Africa.
Right.
Well, I did some investigation, and that 1,000 is not like 1,000 in 1 year. They're going over a long period of time.
Okay.
In my estimation, I would say it's more like 15 to 20 brothers a week.
Okay. That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that are coming and staying. And the reason why you don't hear much about them or that they don't communicate is because we African Americans, or as I say, American Africans, have this thing of we kind of do it ourselves. It's not in us to like join a group on something as serious as moving out of the country. And a lot of us have a lot of problems that we have in the U.S. and moving out in basically incognito is an option that they see favorable. Anyone really know where they are, and then once they come to Africa and they see that they can handle it, they try to fall off of the radar as such, so that they can't be traced in any way. And this comes from the fear we have of dealing with the United States.
Okay, let me ask you this. So say there's an African American who's interested in relocating to Kenya. You know, a lot of times when immigrants from their country, when they come to the U.S., there's an infrastructure in place. There's an ecosystem in place that where they could come over here and they could kind of just assimilate in easily because they already have family members here. They already have friends here. Is there a similar system for Black Americans if they were planning on relocating to a place like Kenya, where they could just come in and, you know, they'll have somewhere to stay, where they could figure things out for like 6 months, you know, maybe have work waiting for them, etc.
Okay, I can say a lot about that. First of all, the hard answer to that question, it would be no.
Mm-hmm.
a community center for African Americans in an African country. Not to say that you can't be, you can't find hospitality everywhere. You won't. I mean, you won't sleep on the streets. That's for sure. Even if you're a total stranger, you'll be able to. Someone will take you in for a night or two. The problem we have as Black people is that we want these things like something on a silver platter. If you struggled in the United States to get a job, in Pakistan, you struggle everywhere you go. You struggle in Dubai.
Right.
It's no different if you go anywhere. So this thing of is there a job waiting for me? Is there a place for me to stay? Is there somebody going to give me money to take care of me for the 6 months? This is just based on fear and laziness.
Right.
Another part of the problem is that, like I said earlier, we are independent creatures, like independent hunters. We're not like wolves that hunt in packs. Black people, when a Black man decides he's going to go to Africa, he's going to go on his own. And I have seen that come to Africa. He has come by himself, not as a group.
Right.
Person. And he's just looking around and seeing how things are. And, there was a brother that came. He came, as soon as an African American comes in my area, people tell me, I met there's a Black American. And we talked, we had a good time. And then that was it. He disappeared off the radar. I didn't see him for like a month. And then after a month, I saw him. He came calling me saying, brother, I'm out of money. I did all this. And, he had hung out with all of the local chicks. Was exhausted. He started asking me for advice on, how could he find work, and he had waited too long. When he should have invested his money, he didn't. Mm-hmm. This is what we do. We go on our own. We want to try to do things on our own individually. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Maybe that's a survival tactic, but it doesn't really help us as culminating as a group. I mean, let's face it. If we could organize ourselves into groups in Africa, we'd be able to do that in the U.S. And you see the big problem we have there. Black communities are disappearing. People are kind of problems, and they don't discuss with their friends. They just let themselves try to deal with it themselves. It comes from capitalism, where you want to jump out and be bling bling, the one who conquered society and did the perfect way, and I'm successful, blah blah blah. There's nobody that's Black country that is successful. Even if you got money and you got a home, you got a lot of people around you that don't have that. And then what do? I mean, right. Amongst my friends, I bought a house. Mm-hmm. Immediately after that, one of my friends was getting married, and we had a bachelor party, and all my buddies came to my house. It was wonderful. No one came to my house. No one wanted to talk to me. Jealousy, envy, and they feel bad when they come into somebody's house and they don't have one yet. I understand that. It's the same way when I bought my brand new Mustang 5.0.
I took it
to my friends. Glass roof, I wasn't even gonna buy that car. It's just I got to the dealership, and while I was waiting for my BMW 325, the guy showed me that car, and I took a test drive. Yeah. So I went to my friend's house. I've always had a car, so I had a new car. No big deal. That guy refused to come out of the house. Yeah. I didn't really realize it then, but when I looked at it back, in hindsight, like, damn, that's the only reason, because he was surely acting weird. And that's the problem we face. I don't know why we. It's important for us to shine amongst the country that is designed to keep us down and has been doing a good job of it for 400 years.
And real quick, Amiran, for people who are new in the chat that don't know your story, if you could give them like a 5-minute, just breakdown of who you are, where you're originally from, and where you're at now, and how that ties into the topic today, as far as why thousands of African Americans have left the U.S. for Africa. And in fact, let's simplify it. Why did you personally leave the U.S., Los Angeles, California, for Africa?
Because I became Black conscious. I became Black conscious officially in January of 1987. Reading over the books and watching the VHS videos that were just starting to come out on the subject, I had to go to Africa. It's just no way. I'd be a hypocrite trying to run around here claiming I was something that I wasn't, and without some proof, to be sure. So you see, I had changed my name, and you see the name that the ancestors forced me to take. So, and you have to remember, when I left, it was nothing like it is today. People weren't talking about going to Africa at all. I left, child support was a misdemeanor. It was nothing like no jail time. When I left, the internet was not even something that it was even there.
Right.
That's when I left. So you can't say what I have done in the past. That's one thing. And the second thing is, I wrote my book, Black Man's Guide to Moving to Africa, in 2005.
Okay.
In 1999. I saw the situation way back then. When I was teaching martial arts, my students, I have many male students, and we would sit around talk about their life, and I always remember laughing at them, telling them, "Shit, that's what you get for want to stay here. Me, I'm going." And to the day I had the last meeting with my Black belts and telling them, I'm going. So this thing of today, if people would have did the research way back then, they would have seen what's happened today was foreseen. Communities was Black communities. Now there's nothing like that. Black communities is gone.
Right.
And I want to tell people the seriousness of that.
Especially in LA.
Yeah, Mexicans just took over. So and there's a brother that you had on the other day. I was watching the video. It was a nice one. He was talking about Los Angeles and
Yeah, brother T West. Yeah, brother T West. So, where are you going? Oh, okay, your kid. Okay, yeah. All right. I was like, where'd the brother go? He disappeared. Where'd he go?
Oh, my daughter is here.
Okay.
So
hello, Yambo.
Say hi.
Yambo.
You speak Swahili. Wow, you gotta teach daddy. Anyway, I'm saying we knew this problem was gonna happen a long time ago. And that's what this is, we're seeing the culmination of that, and why articles like Al Jazeera, which would be crazy to listen to, even a couple of years ago, something about an article about thousands of Black people are moving to Africa. It was just nothing I heard of. But today, with Trump and the situations that are going on with the economy, America is in its last days, and for Black people, it's going to be. If you can't see it now, surely. I grew up in a time when there was no AIDS. Gayism was in the closet completely. You see, so I can see these things that have accumulated and come out. People like, maybe you're young enough, you may not remember a time when there wasn't AIDS. You may not remember a time when there wasn't child support.
I remember the first time I heard about AIDS. There was the movie with Tom Hanks called Philadelphia.
Yeah, well,
I remember I was a little kid.
I remember when Dr. Gabriel Gallo got on TV and did a news conference. You'll never find it now. And said, answered questions saying, can the disease be passed on through regular sex? Because at the time he was saying that the AIDS virus was amongst homosexuals, and you couldn't catch it, regular hetero sex. Goes over to Africa, and all of a sudden it just flips. you know, and it's like you can catch it anytime. So I was a witness to all of that, with that, and Dr. Peter Duesberg, and you know, this I don't know what's wrong with us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's wrong with black people that the media is just overwhelming us, losing. The 400-year war is continuing, and we're losing badly. We're not winning any battles, and the main battle is economics. Again, people think that racism is about blacks hating whites, hating blacks. It's nothing like that. Racism is about economics, and I'm so glad that Dr. Anderson brought that point to the. You cannot do anything having economic power, and this is a situation that we have been facing since the beginning. The government and many non-black groups have put us in a situation where we are economically the last ones, ahead of the Hispanics, but now we're behind the Hispanics. You know, 1,000 black men moving to Africa, it can happen. And I foresaw that a long time ago. That's when I wrote my book in 2005.
Okay. How would we keep the, I would say, the people that will come amongst us that will not serve the best interest of the black collective, that will come and disrupt? How will we keep them from relocating from Africa?
Yeah, I remember you also discussing about that and having that as a concern. And even Marcus Garvey said about that in a speech about black people that are beggars and thieves in the U.S. They go to Africa, thieves. But you have to remember that the Australians were beggars and thieves and criminals, and they got an island. They still built a society. It's no way you can see. You know, that trip across the ocean, and then the experience you get when you come to Africa, the cultural shock can change a man. It can change a good man to bad, and it can change a bad man to good. You can't worry about it. I mean, every society has their criminals, people that want to take the success from others. Kenya has them. So every place has them. They're going to be there. So trying to filter them out for coming to Africa is, I feel like it's a mission impossible.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't even worry about that. If and I don't see even them coming. You know, the fact that you have that trip, and make that trip and learn about the culture. Most lazy, because I believe most criminals are just lazy. They just feel like they can sit around the house and wait for somebody to buy something, then go ahead and steal it from them. You know, so most lazy people won't put that kind of effort in.
True, that's true. I was going to ask what. So why do you think a number? Okay, basing from the article, I haven't read the article myself. What were the reasons for African Americans moving to Africa that they were giving an article?
Can you say that again? My daughter wants to watch cartoons.
What were the reasons in the article? What were the reasons for African Americans relocating to Africa?
Well, the main part, most of the article was about this woman, this black woman who was highly educated and was still had experienced a lot of racist type treatment, rudeness and misnomer, treatment in America. So she was basically saying that she couldn't get a job. If you remember, one of our great educators, Dr. Barbara Sizemore. Dr. Barbara Sizemore, Chicago. And she had a slogan: education, do it or quit. And she got old, she got sick, and then she was about to die. And I believe someone had enough sense to go and interview her on her last days. She said that she had 2 sons that had PhDs and couldn't get jobs.
Right.
So this is the experience that this lady was talking about, and I'm sure many of blacks are. And then they get disheartened and they feel like, okay, well, enough intelligence to say, let me try Africa. And they have enough. College has smartened them up to the point where they can, themselves, and that's that gets them a chance to go to Africa. But you have to remember another thing here, and the other side of it. Africa is their only option.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, let me ask you, what if somebody says, not Africa, how about, Dr. Sebi went to Honduras? There's a brother in here that's doing a documentary on Africans or descendants of Africans who are in Colombia. What do they say Central America, South America as an option? What would your response be to that?
There's no bigger continent than Africa. There's no more minerals. There's no place in the world that has more minerals, more beautiful weather, more of everything than the African continent. So for individuals, and I'm not saying the person you're talking about is one of them, but people that say, "Oh, everybody's going to Africa. Let me go to let me go to Brazil. I'm gonna show you. These are just opportunists that have that in their mental psyche where when they don't follow the crowd, they advertise themselves as I went to Brazil and I found that I was better loved there. You cannot be loved better in Africa in Brazil than you can be in Africa. You cannot find more opportunities and feel culturally secure than you can in Africa. Now you have to remember, by whites, and Africa countries are run by Africans. So some people want to believe like the white man is still running the country. He's in the back of the room running things. That's nonsense. Oh, the Chinese are taking all of the minerals out of your hand. Like the black man is stupid. Like the president is like, okay, here, take my minerals. Not the case. This is not the case. And wait a minute. Shh. I'm talking. So this is not the case at all. And but they're black people that have to believe anything, go anywhere except Africa. And then you can be sure that they've been touched by a lot of the mass media propaganda, news and entertainment. And I can give an example on a few of those.
Go ahead, please do.
You look at the major comedians. Who are the major comedians? Dave Chappelle. I can't think of him right now, but I've been watching them. And even Eddie Murphy. And if you watch them, they always get the audience laughing, and then they come up with a skit on Africa. I was doing this skit. I was watching that.
I mean, and another did Coming to America.
But I'm talking about a walk-on skit where there's just one-on-one with the audience.
Okay. See, I'm young. Like the only, I guess, stand-up I ever saw of Eddie Murphy was Eddie Murphy Raw. But when I started watching Eddie Murphy's when he already transitioned from stand-up to movie.
But I'm saying even today, the comedians are making skits about Africa and they're making them negative. So they get the audience laughing and joking, and then they start making jokes about Africa. This is psychological. If that they're being paid to put some negative jokes about Africa in their program, regular basis. I'm sitting here looking at it. Chris Rock is another one. I can just go all through them, all of them. Also remember that Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, all were killed and deported at the height of their career. Malcolm X wasn't killed when he was standing in the middle of Harlem talking about the goddamn white man. When he went to Africa and came back and said on national TV, we can go back to Africa. It was only when Martin Luther King started discussing about human rights abuses Africa as a solution, that he was killed. It was only Khalid Muhammad. If you watch Khalid Muhammad, you know Khalid Muhammad.
Of course I do.
Khalid Muhammad, last speech, he started talking about he was in Africa and he didn't see the things he had, and he said that we can't do nothing unless we go through Africa. In that speech, he's talked about it. And the next day, he mysteriously choked on a chicken wing, and nobody saved his life.
So okay, did he choke on a chicken wing or did he have a brain aneurysm?
No, I'm joking about the chicken wing, but he said he choked on food, and he was choking in the toilet, and he choked to death, basically on his own whatever he was eating. Anyways, but it's a sad case. And we're not putting together the dots. It's too much interference between the NFL, NBA, all these talk shows, or all the movies, for us to not sit down in a quiet place and look at our situation. I mean, come on, Umar. Says he wants to build a school, and okay, I'm not against the brother. Go move forward. He's never opened a school and never ran a school before. He don't have that type of background. If you can't get the money to open the school after 5 years, what makes you think that the people have enough interest in the project to keep it going once it starts? If you're talking about keeping people in the dormitory, they staying away from home. I mean, that's what he's talking about. Outside of a society, back into a society that is against the kind of preaching you want. It just can't work. I was black conscious in a world of people that are not conscious. I know how it feels to be lonely.
Right.
You either have to or totally get away. Until I was able to get away. And this is the case. How? It's not going to work. If you got people paying money and you got so many haters that they're going to try to take your credentials from you, you want to pitch a camp in the backyard of this enemy. He said he want to open a school in Detroit. He want to open a school in Chicago, all these freezing places.
He said Delaware and Chicago now. Delaware and Chicago.
Either way, you see the weather he's going to face next year. He them buildings in them dormitories. You know how much it costs? So yeah, and then you got to hire staff. And he's already talking about firing people who don't do A, B, C, D. Do you know that the people the good teachers, the good black teachers will not touch that school? They have a career.
You don't think so?
They have a career. They got to think of their career first. So they're going to go to a school that somebody who never opened a school before, they're going to come down there and teach on what principle. And knowing that if they go to another school and look for another job, that's got to be put on their resume. I work for Umar Johnson.
Okay. No, I understand.
It's not going to work. Yeah, you're not going to get nothing but you're not going to get no quality to come and be in the school. It's a failed concept. Now, there was a time back when he was talking about having a school in Africa, but then he came and said that, most of my donors are in the U.S., so it would be unfair for me to open a school in Africa. Option. Hell, if you taking the heat the way he's taking the heat, it's gonna happen when he opened that school and start producing little Dr. Umar Johnson kids. You're going to have parents that are going to reject it. You're going to have, what about insurance? You're going to have the enemies going to bring their kids into school, slip on the floor, back of their head, and then have him in court every day but Sunday. You get what I'm saying? There's too many ways, there's too many things that can go wrong for him to try to want people that he can open up a school, as opposed to help black people. And by the way, if he's not noticed, Africans are black people too.
So do you think Umar will be better off building the school? I know we're changing the subject a little bit. Do you think Umar will be better off building the school in Africa versus America?
that 1,000 black people that's leaving they're leaving the U.S. It's your only. I mean, if he's got, I don't know how much money he's raised. Let me say,
I think 700,000. I think 700,000.
700,000 is almost shillings is almost like billions in Kenyan money. Can you understand what I'm saying?
I understand that pretty much the impact he could have in Kenya with $700,000 would be bigger.
Yes, yes. And if he can have a large pack of land, he can have workers that will work for him for, I can't say peanuts, because the African worker is one of the cheapest workers and the most hardworking. So you tell them, go over there, build me a building. They will do it. And it won't cost you a lot of money. So land, you're joking. You're going to have people going to give you land. People, like your brother was saying, I don't know if it was your group, but they were saying that, yeah, you had a brother on at the beach. On the beach, and there was a building on the beach. And the guy said,
right.
Yeah, he said, I just let him build there. You understand what I'm saying? Didn't even hurt them. So yeah, he can do that here. He can do that here. But no, he wants to stick around in America. And that is the suspicious part for me.
Hey,
if
brother,
is all that into
not to cut you off. Wilsonian, are you Reginald Simon? If I wasn't supposed to say your government name, I'm so sorry. Just press 1. Wilsonian, Garveyite. Are you Reginald? I should have said your last name. I apologize. Just press 1 if that's you. And also, I want to give a shout out to Daniel Simmons for his super chat. All right, Daniel has been super chatting. He's been supporting me for the last couple of months. And also, the brother allows me to come to his house around the corner from me in the West End. He stays in the neighborhood of Westview. I stay in the West End. And he feeds me as well. So, brother, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate for your support. And Wilsonian Garveyite is the first Patreon subscriber. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate that. You are the first. Go ahead, Grandmaster. I apologize. I just wanted to get that out there. Go ahead.
I was talking about Dr. Umar, and I was explaining that his school can't work in the United States.
Okay.
Not the one that he's talking about. Either he'll have to change it or he'll have to close it down. You got too many enemies of the state, black and white. The school fails, and that's just like a happy meal waiting for somebody to come and destroy it or burn it down. You see, it's just ridiculous. The only option he has is as Africa. And look at Dr. Okay, again, I don't know why I'm talking about these same guys. He came on the circuit and he tried to tell everybody what was up. Try to scare people straight. But at the end of the day, what did he say? More Mexicans is buying his book than black people. More Mexicans is buying his books than black people. Because we're economically deprived. They knew they had us when they made the decision to cut us off economically. You don't even own 2% of the wealth of your own country you live in. How can you call that your country? Things you can't do that you don't realize, black people. So many things that you don't realize that you can't do if you had economic support and economic power amongst you as a group. So if you're saying you're giving shouts out to the brother that can come around the corner and help and feed you and take care of you.
Yeah. But Daniel, like he invites me to his house for breakfast and dinner.
Yeah, any brother, you go to brother, how was your name, man? My name is John. Man, I'm hungry. Can we go to no problem, bro. Let's go. You see, it should be like that everywhere we go.
Right.
Suspicion, hatred, in America, because America breeds that. You're the product of your environment.
Right.
Of your environment. So you should, that's why I'm saying. Another reason. Africa is the only solution. Now your children. Can I get on that part, please?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You got the floor. We have about 20 more minutes because I have another engagement I have to hop on at around 10:30, 10:35. But brother, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Say this part about the children. Many of brothers got children. And the child support thing is horrible and foolish. But you have children. You catching hell in the United States. And then you want to raise your children and then kick them off into the same hell that you're facing. This is shit, but by any other means, you should be able to see being destroyed step by step. And this is the case. We're helping them when we release our children back into into the madness, miseducating them, giving them all type of false realities. These are the things that are happening to our children, and there's nothing we can do if we don't own the education system. Oh, what you gonna do? Build one now? No. And from that, the schools in Africa are far better. The opportunities they would have would be far greater. They would not grow up with self-hatred. They would grow up with self-confidence because they'd be part of a majority. You raising your children and then sticking them in a country where they've instantly become a minority and the last minority. All kind of problems facing them. They're walking around in the store and everybody's looking at him. Because why? Because he's a minority. Because he's a little black kid running around. And those black kids are ABCD. And the women are also a part of this. Women that are taking their kids away from the man and then saying that the man is no good. These are also problems. Black people are having gender wars. These are all problems that America comes into in the last days. When they steal can you imagine they stealing your neighborhoods from you, pushing you out, taking your money, giving you cheap jobs with less money, forcing you to work 2 and 3 jobs, and then you're turning around, struggling to have your kid graduate from high school, maybe go into college, as if that's going to change something. Not going to change a thing. Your options are in Africa, where they can go to college at 1/3 of the cost and get a better education. Become familiar with African people in their classrooms, create African friends, build up relationships, and find more opportunities and be a part of a majority culture. That's for us. Already we're seeing that everything that you have in the U.S. you got in African modern cities. You can't be acting like America got something that other people don't. America got a lot of debt, more debt than everybody else. Prisons got more black prisoners than everybody else combined. And you just sticking your kid out there, hoping, rolling the dice. You're living in the country that is the #1 murder capital of the world. I'm sorry to say.
True.
You're living in a country that is the #1 rapist country in the state. The most racist country. I'm sorry to tell you. You're living in it, so you don't really see it, what it's like until you leave. So I say to anybody that's out there that has been touched about Africa and thinking about it, that's your ancestors telling you, bring your ass back home. And it's going to take a process. If you can't do it because you tied down in credit debt and ABCD and you got control of your kid, you should put your kid in the boarding school. At least for a year. So it can be well taken care of and he can at least make contacts and grow friendships in the continent where you were too afraid to do so. So, I know 1,000 brothers are out there coming, and that's because, and they're not really telling people that they're coming because they've been tied down with a lot of, America ties us down with a lot of issues, man. Tax, support, credit debt is now going to be against you. They're taking your passport if you have credit debt is coming. And then all the issues of getting a passport in the first place. Can't get one if you're a felon. Or government taxes. These are things that are coming. These rules are going to be even more stringent as time moves on until it be impossible.
I think like that already. Like you can't get a passport if you owe taxes or child.
Yeah, I'm saying that's very true, and it's going to get worse. Trapped, and you cannot leave even if you wanted to. And this is the case you're following. America's biggest fear, and I repeat, America's biggest fear is for black people to leave America en masse. You know what it would do to economic, international relationships if black people in mass started leaving the United States and all these other countries would talk how they would talk about America? You see, they don't want that. They don't want that. But as soon they're rather than make you leave, they're just destroying us. A population count on black people. How can we be so? We used to be the majority of Los Angeles. I remember I used to ride from Pico all the way down to Alameda.
Crenshaw, Pico, South Central, Compton,
all of that.
Lamert Park, yeah, Inglewood.
Where are they going?
They're going to. They're going to.
Someone tell me that the black population.
San Bernardino.
Someone tell me that the black population in the United States is increasing. Can someone tell me if the black population in America is increasing? So you see people like Dr. Umar, they're trying to bet on some sort of building a school, and the population is reducing. You understand what I'm saying? He's gonna open a school where there's no black community, so wherever you open a school, there's gonna be a section of the area around that school that's not black. Anytime in 1 or 2 years, anything can happen. They can buy up the plot next to him and put up a big apartment building, gentrify that place, force him out of business. Our main concern should be the fact that the population is reducing. And if we don't fix that, what are we talking about? They've choked us economically, and they're putting our men in jails by large numbers. And those are sperms that have never reached the egg. And this is reducing our numbers. They got black women, the worst thing on earth, and this is mistreating us, disrespecting us. They got black men don't have no home training, doing the same thing to black women. I'm sorry, I don't see that where I'm at. So I don't see how where you are is better than.
There are a couple questions in the chat room. Number one, guys, Nzinga, you brought up Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi's grandson is supposed to be coming on the show later on today around noon, between 12 and 12:30. So I just wanted to put that out there, guys. So between 12 and 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, Dr. Sebi's grandson should be coming on. Y'all had a question. He wants to know, why aren't there any, because from my understanding, the education system or public school system, whatever you want to call it, in Africa is very Eurocentric still. Is that true or not, or is it starting to shift more to being African centered?
I'm talking to you from a Kenyan public school.
Okay.
This is a science book right next to me. Can you see the cover?
It's black children.
Yeah. Can you go to this book? Show me the white person on this book. Because about my business here about digitalizing the Kenyan education system. So I'm just sitting here, and they're talking about how the whites did them. Kenyans, like most Africans, they're not going to come and say, "Oh, the white people were bad." No. Down there that we thank the white man for helping us. There are a lot of white countries, European countries, that are paying money and books to African countries in the hopes that they can still try to somehow brainwash the African children not to hate them. But I'm sorry, and they know, they can see that, because the African is not attacking them based off his ignorance. He's not attacking the people because white people because of his nature. That's not in his nature. The first president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, had a meeting with all the whites in Nairobi days after he became president, the first black president of the country. And whites had all these rumors that when he got into government, he was going to kill them, and they were rightfully believed that because of all of the things that they had done to the Kenyan people. Brought them all into City Hall and sat them down, all the business owners, and invited them down, sat them down, talked to them, and told them, "You ain't got nothing to worry about. You treat me right, I'm gonna treat you right. You treat me badly, I'm gonna put you out of my country." They told them. On video, you can YouTube it. The African don't have that in his nature, So and that's another wonderful thing for me, because and for your children when you bring them here, there's no vindictiveness. Yeah. The culture is the way the culture is the way it is because the people in violence. They're not brought up with violent toys. They're not brought up with violent cartoons. You can see the cartoons today. You try to find one where there's no killing or shooting and killing people in the cartoons. Yeah, this is just normal for us in America, but that's not the reality when you step outside of America, and you can see the difference in their children. So yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Say that I can go on and on about it, but the time for talk is over. The time what the one thing that the Alpha Zero article was trying to point out was that it's people taking action, and you can make a plan, and you must write the plan down on paper. Step one, get a passport.
Okay.
Step two.
Hey, let me ask you this question, brother. So with that being said, planning on going to Africa, Evans wants to know how much is enough money to move out and start really living your life sustainable life in Africa. Now be the last question. Go ahead. Now finish your
You get this kind of question all the time, and we need to read behind the lines of the question. What is he really saying? What does he really want to know? He knows if he can be successful. Can he make it? That's what they want to know. If I come to Africa, can I make it? All of the immigrants that came to America, and they were told that they're going to get free land and free labor. Yeah? All of those people took a chance, and they were in countries that are far worse off than what you are in the U.S. Except for the racist part, the economic oppression. So I have been to so many African countries. I've driven around, looked around. You don't see people sick on the street. You don't die, homeless. It's just nothing like that.
Right. I talked about that before.
Doesn't have that. The problem is, me, I'm a black belt martial artist. I'm a grandmaster. I have so many black belts to my credit. I'm a martial arts champion. I have fought over 400 tournaments, thousands of competitors. I have no fear of facing my fellow man and saying, I have a fear that I'm gonna talk to somebody and they're gonna look at me badly. I don't have the fear of someone knowing that I don't have a dime in my pocket and I need some help. So maybe my case is a bit different, but you got to get over your fear. You must get over your fear of people. You must get over your fear of the imaginary, and you must realize that the mass media, news, and propaganda in the United States is what's controlling a lot of the fears that you have. Sometimes about that Africa not like that. That's not true about Africa. These things in your mind. Now, who put those thoughts in your mind? I'm telling you, it's the comedians that make jokes, movies that put that crap on TV. It's so many things. Cartoons, some of them, yes, make you feel like whites are a majority, and they're only 7% of the world population. They're only 7% of the world population. So any thoughts about because there were some people that tell me that you're gonna get it. The Americans gonna come get you. Like they're gonna walk into an African country and control it, and they couldn't even control Iraq. They're gonna bomb up Iraq, try to control Iraq, and then they had to create a green zone, and then they was pushed all up into the green zone where they couldn't come out. Against. There's no way America's gonna run somebody's African country. It's impossible. How you gonna come to Kenya and not have Uganda and dumb guys from Somalia and coming on your neck? How you gonna see that you're not? What about Tanzania? You think the people just gonna sit there and say, "Oh, that's in Africa, that's in Kenya"? There's nothing like that. You make blacks unite like the crazy. So many blacks are here. They're not opening up bank accounts. They're holding their money. They got phone banking here that doesn't have any banks. And that's so they can easily survive. If they get the citizenship here, you got e-citizen. e-citizen in Kenya. You can just log on and start and get your business name, like I did. You can get your business name. You can get all your business affairs done online in the comfort of your own home. The name of a business, you can go there and search the name for 150 shillings. It's going today. They're making the country more, more susceptible to outside businesses and people that want to come. But the African American is not taking advantage of it. You know who's taking advantage of it?
Who?
People are coming here and retiring. And black people are online talking about how much will it cost me? That time, you had a critical situation. Yeah, you passed that time. You had a critical situation. You got to make a choice. Either you're going to die in that nonsense, and then your kids are going to follow right behind you, or you can leave. You can wait for your kid to come up to you and say, "Daddy, why do whites hate blacks? Why do they hate us like that, Daddy?" It's because your daddy left birthed you in that country. He refused to leave, and he loved being a minority, and thinking that somehow out of 400 and something years, the white people gonna all of a sudden jump up and change. 400 years? I mean, it'd be 400 years in 2 years. I want to see that day. Yeah, when you look back and have to account for it, there's nothing that's going to except for one thing: leaving, moving out. You see, you was telling the brothers about a trip that cost $318.
Yeah, about that in the minute I saw that link posted, I went and bought the ticket like immediately. And then you have people, hesitating, and the trip's not to September. But the minute the brother posted that on in the comment section on one of my videos, I immediately went and bought a ticket. Like, no questions asked, not worrying about what I'm gonna do or where I'm gonna go. Like a lot of people were asking or posting, like, "Oh, I see the ticket, but what am I gonna do once I get to Ivory Coast?" Buy the ticket and figure that out later. Buy the damn ticket. It's $318 round trip.
Yeah, go to get the ticket. Then from there, you can get another flight to any other country you want. It'd be much cheaper.
Exactly.
So our problem is not economic. It's the psychological effect that we have. Brainwashed to believe that the United States is the best country. And I love that little movie piece. I don't know what that white guy was. He played a newscaster on the show, and they were telling him, greatest country in the world. And then they forced him to answer. Then he jumped up and said, "It's not the greatest country in the world. We're 15th in math, 16th in science, 14th in me." Yeah, and he went down the road, and that was a white guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because Americans are also, we talk about our black problem, but you're in a group. Black are not the only problem. Whites have the same problem. Whites in the United States have the same problem, and they're leaving in droves, in big numbers too. They establish their businesses here, and then they go outside the country. So what's holding black people back? Why are black people the least people that have passports? They leave Mexico and walk around, come all the way to California and start mowing lawns, and then end up owning businesses and then becoming a majority. What's wrong with black people?
Right.
The problem with us is that we've been psychologically brainwashed. Other peoples in the United States have been told that we are the example of what you should strive not to be. So you get the Chinese and they're like, that black person. Can you imagine a Chinese person talking to his son in America? And his little boy in America, and then he's pointing out those are some black people. And then the son said, "What about them? They're the lowest economically. They're gang members. They're good musicians. They can dance, but you can't be around them." They had that problem, and then black people, you wonder why supporting you. Other people are not supporting you. It's because psychological damage that the government is behind.
All right, brother. We're going to go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, come here. Yeah, come stand right here. You see?
Mm-hmm.
I come to Africa, boop. American. African. When you see her playing with her friends, she don't stand out. You can't even know that she's can't even know that she's not her father is a Black American. Mm-hmm. It's so simple. One generation. Even if you bring small kids here, let them interact with the African kids, in no time they'll just be one of the gang. Just mingle in with each other. So yeah,
wow.
This is for the reason. The next generation, America. And if you hold no seeds, don't give your valuable seeds to the Americans. The American system that don't want you, don't like you. Bring them to Africa where they can be happy in good weather all year round. Brother, thanks.
Yeah. I'll let you close out. How can people get in contact with you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm a Rahh. So, you can get on there. You can find me there. If somebody wants a copy of the Black Man's Guide, the revised edition, they can contact me on Facebook, and I can send them a copy. But whatever I ever saying about the people here, stop looking at it for excuses and be able to check themselves when they have those negative thoughts about Africa and realize that they're part of a multi-billion-dollar misinformation campaign and propaganda campaign that the United States has put to keep us from wanting to leave. Why? Because America's biggest fear is leaving the country in mass. And they fear that because they know what they're doing. They're hoping that we don't find out. But obviously now when you look at the state of Black America today, no more Harlem, no more South Central. Man, you know what I'm saying? We're disappearing. Neither one of the candidates in the last election didn't even need us. Didn't even cater to us. So, and if you don't have political power, oh my God, you're done. You don't have political power, that ain't your country. You're a fool for staying there. If they change it, they decide every day that every Black person got to wear an ID card, and shit you can do about
it. All right, you guys. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat room, everybody that super chatted, for joining us today. If you're new to this stream, make sure you subscribe. If you're not in a position to super chat, make sure you guys share and like the videos. Please share and like the videos. Make sure you go to searchforahuru.com. Make sure you go to dynastymirror.com. Make sure you go to amazon.com. Search your name, Dynasty Mirror. Please buy a book. Also, social media, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Search for Uhuru. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. So Dynasty Mirror, search for Uhuru. I'll be back on again around noon with one of Dr. Sebi's grandsons. So we're going to chop it up as well. So Dynasty Mirror, search for Uhuru. Till next time, peace.